Welcome to the Sip and Chat. This is Love Marlene 411, your channel for very important conversations and podcasts about trauma healing, um, just getting over things, just living a healthier and happier life. And I also do these Sip and Chats on Thursdays with my wonderful co-host, Miss Nexie. And the link is there in the chat for you, Miss Nexie. Welcome, everyone, to today's podcast. I really do appreciate every single one. Today, we will be talking about making choices in our life to be healthy and to not be toxic, okay? But before I get into all of that, welcome to the Sip and Chat. What are you sippers sipping on? What is to drink today? Today I do have a little bit of a beverage going on. The beverage is beveraging. Yeah, I got a little bit of a drink. I have a little bit of a sip going on. Right? It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? It's 5 o'clock in Florida, so it counts. And I'm having my little apple martini and yeah, shaken and not stirred, okay? Let's get into today's podcast. Today we're going to be talking about, making the choice to live a healthy mindset or a healthy life and to not be toxic. And I know that many come from an environment that is toxic. I know many of us, whether it's your parents, could be your siblings, grandparents, but somebody in your environment or somebody along the lines was toxic. It could even be friendships, it could be past romantic relationships, but when those relationships end or when they should end, do we have enough courage to also evaluate ourselves and to make choices to be healthy ourselves? Because we do have to ask ourselves, why did we choose to be in this relationship? Why did we choose this friendship? Why did we allow ourselves to be run over and to be used? And for many of us, we just grew up in that environment. We got so used to the toxicity that you start to become toxic. And I want us to have conversations about that because I know that there are many of you loved ones that either have been toxic or currently are toxic. I know about being in that space of being a toxic little girl. I'm not going to even say a toxic woman because I was not yet a woman, because I lacked the maturity, I lacked the awareness, I didn't know who I was, I didn't know of my worth and my power and my strength. And I do believe 100% until you know your worth, your strength, and what you are, the reason for your existence, you're going to stay around people or you're going to choose toxic relationships. And I myself had to choose to not be toxic. I had to choose to stop sticking around negative relatives, toxic relatives, choosing to be in relationships with people who will never change, romantic, platonic. It could be a friend, it could be workmates, it could be business people. But when I finally got into that space to where I knew of my worth, I know of my power, I know my strength, I had to start moving differently. And it's not an easy thing. It's the hardest thing in the world to make choices to be healthy when all you have ever been is toxic. It's like, how do you even begin to start to be healthy, to make healthier choices when all you've ever seen is, probably arguing and screaming and negativity and just controlling, abusive sometimes narcissistic behaviors. We see that in our environment many times, within our relatives, within your romantic relationship, within people who you select to be friends with. And it's because we haven't worked on ourselves and fixed the brokenness that is ourself. And until I made a choice to fix my brokenness and to heal that, everything was going to stay toxic for me. And it was me making that choice to change it. I had to want to change everything. I had to want to change. I had to want to be the one to shift and change my entire life. And there was a time in my life where I wasn't ready for a change. I enjoyed being toxic, because when you're toxic, it means that there's no responsibility, there's no accountability. You can do whatever you want. And even people will say that's the way you are and all those things. But just because we get accustomed to negativity, just because you were raised in that sort of environment, it doesn't mean that you have to stay that way. It doesn't mean you have to stay negative. It means that you can shift and be better and do better. I see my wonderful co-host Miss Nexie here in the background. Let's welcome her to the sip and chat.
Hello, Miss Marlene.
Hello, Miss Nexa.
Thank you for holding on the fort. Oh my God, I was running, I was rushing. I am so sorry I'm a little late, but I'm here. I had an appointment this morning that I completely forgot about.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, it's not your fault. It's my fault. I forgot about it. So I got to the appointment super late, and the doctor had to see me whenever. And so that's why I'm running late. So it's not your fault, Marlene, it's mine. My timing is impeccable.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So, with all of that, take a deep breath, Miss Nexie. Ah, woosah, woosah, woosah. Okay, Miss Nexie.
Exactly.
What are you sipping on?
Right now, water.
Oh,
I'm telling
water.
you, I was running.
Oh, okay. Well, guess what,
I was
Miss
like a sip
Nexie?
and shot. No.
Guess what,
Just
Miss
had a
Nexie?
nice.
Today, your girl has some alcoholic beverage. I have an apple martini.
Wait, I was about to ask that. You didn't even allow me to. Because you went right into whatever you
Well,
wanted
oh,
to.
okay. Rewind. Okay, Miss Nexie, what were you saying?
Miss Marlene, what are you sipping on today?
Do you know what I'm having? Today I'm having an apple martini.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
YouTube and alcohol don't mix. We've seen what happens. We've seen the outcome of things.
Yeah, we'll
Well,
see.
I'm
If this if
glad.
this if this goes left, I'm just gonna stay silent and let you control it.
If this goes left, I'm ending the live. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey Anthony, how are you doing? Miss Nexie, are you there still? Uh,
Miss
okay.
Marlene.
Yep, it's back now. You were gone. I hear you. Do you hear me? Awesome, Anthony. No, I don't hear you, Miss Nexie. Okay, I think she's back.
I'm back. I'm sorry. Are we gonna be
Oh,
going through this again, Miss Marlene, with this
oh,
StreamYard thing?
you know that's the exciting part about stream yards. Yeah.
Oh, you see, if things start going left, they're gonna end our session. We don't have to worry about. Oh my God.
so Miss Nexie, okay, let's start off by doing this. Let's start off by talking about the topic, okay?
Okay.
Today's topic, we're talking about making a choice to be healthy and to not be toxic, because choosing to have a healthy mindset and a life and to not be toxic. And I know that many of us, I know I'm not the only one that came from
Hmm.
that background of toxicity. And toxicity doesn't always have to be, being physically assaulted. It doesn't have to be, it could be emotionally um, abused.
Hmm.
Talking down to always being told you're ugly, you're stupid, all of these things. Or it could just be, being neglected in your childhood, or never, having communication within your family lifestyle. And then when you grow up, you accept that as a norm, and it's not a normal thing. And it's about allowing ourselves to shift from that toxic way of life and being and thinking, and trying to choose to be healthy and trying to navigate that as an adult.
Yeah, and I was about to add to that if you're not careful and if you don't take care of your mental health, then you become a toxic person as well to your loved
Mhm.
ones. You continue the cycle kind of thing. So you have to be very careful when you're, on the kind of environment you come from. Because, if you don't take care of your mental health, and I mean, through therapy or just to meditation or whatever it is that you need to do to get rid of, the what it was our childhood, whatever traumas we had growing up. If you don't get rid of those, you will transfer them over and become that person that you dislike the most, which is someone that is abusive and whatever else. Like for me, I had to. I think I told you this before, Margie. As I was going through therapy, not by choice, I've said this before too, that it wasn't something that I chose to say, oh my God, I got to fix myself, right? I'm broken. I'm going to go to therapy. No, it wasn't something that I chose to do. It wasn't, I never even thought of like therapy, like for what? But I went through it, and the one thing that I was doing is all of the fears of the things that happened to me growing up, all of those fears, I was putting them on to my kids. I was adding on. I was just overprotective. I was just, sometimes overbearing, making sure that nothing in their life, was wrong, and making sure that they were okay at every time. So if we don't work on those things, if whatever it is that made us feel uncomfortable, uneasy, sad, or whatever in our childhood, we can continue it on as we get older, if we get bigger in size, as my dad will say.
Exactly. For me, I grew up in not a situation, not that my environment wasn't loving, but we grew up in basically like we were roommates. Like my relatives were roommates. We all lived together, but we didn't talk about things. There was like no communication. That's just how it was in our household. It's like everybody was in their own world, mom and dad were in their world, my older siblings were in their world, and I was in mine. So even though I was around a lot of people, I felt very lonely my whole childhood. And some people will say, "Oh yeah, that must have been so much fun growing up," and I was like, "Not really,
That if
not
you were in my
really."
household.
I was like, it wasn't bad things that happened, but it was kind of just like, for me, I know that when I went through school was very traumatic for me because I was bullied from the time I started elementary school all the way till I finished high school. So if you don't have a safe environment in school when you're being educated, and then you come home and then you can't talk about how you're feeling and what you're going through because nobody communicates or nobody wants to hear about what you're saying. I kind of started doing that when I started working and I started being in relationships because I was so used to not talking about anything about how I'm feeling. When people would ask me how I'm feeling, I would look at them like they're crazy. Or even for me, I felt like, why is that important for you to know? Because I was not used to that healthy, you know,
Mm-hmm.
speaking up and
Yeah.
talking. So I had to work on myself.
Yeah, everybody, and that's the thing is we have so many over, sometimes we live like my dad said, I don't know why these people, they all live together, because we had a neighbor who owned like a corner house, and it wasn't big, like probably like 5-6 acres of land, and he had all of his family members. They have made little houses around it, right? And my dad would be like, I don't know why this family wants everybody there, all of their family members to be there. Um, on top of each other. My dad would say, all of them, all on top of each other. I don't know why they want to be all together. But when you have a healthy environment, it is a beautiful thing to see, because I've seen that. When it's a family that has respect, that has love for each other, that has a healthy mindset, living in close proximity doesn't mean living with each other. You still have that respect of knocking when you come in, calling to make sure it's okay that you come over. You can live in close
Mhm.
proximity. You don't have to be toxic or be crazy. But with our family, I was just thinking about that song on the movie Panda, Kung Fu Fighting. That's what came to my mind when you said everybody living together. Everybody was, when you said everybody was, I was like, Kung Fu Fight. No, and the reality of our thing, and that's actually a reality, that when we live with unhealthy people all cramped up together in the same household, or the same, you know what I mean, whatever lot or proximity, it's not healthy, because everybody's broken. What happens to the children growing up in that environment? They become broken too. People that
Yeah.
have to pay to fix each other, because, or oneself, because brokenness plus brokenness plus brokenness, and let's add more brokenness on top of all of that. We live in close proximity, so a lot of and this is the thing that I always, which is why I took distance from my family, Marlene,
Mhm.
because when we live together, we have all of these kids growing up. We don't pay attention to the troubles our children are having. You know what I mean? We don't pay attention to what they're going through, because we're so busy raising everybody else's too,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we're not paying attention.
We're so busy focusing on trying
Everybody
to
else.
everybody else, or
Yeah.
for me focusing on what is not even important. Like for me, I was always thinking about, oh, having things, having material things, but because I was doing exactly what I grew up on, because that was the most
Mm-hmm.
important thing in our family. It was like, oh no, having nice things, and not buying love, but basically, that's what it is. Thinking that I give you all these things, so it shows how much I love you because I make so much sacrifices. But yes, those things are nice. It's nice to be able to give your loved ones quality things, but it shouldn't be at the cost of not making memories and spending quality time with each other. I had to learn about what is really important and evaluating how I am, that I was very unbalanced.
Yeah,
I cared more
and
about.
there you go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. I was about to like saying kudos to you, that quality time. You weren't spending that quality time. You weren't spending that. It was more quantity. Here, I bought you this, and let's continue this broken family relationship that we have. But I bought you this nice gift, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
but that's but
sometimes,
that But that's what a
Oh, I'm
lot of
sorry.
people do. No, it's okay, Miss Naxie. But that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah, and it's true. Again, another thing is, when you try to fix everything with, having a nice this, having bragging about this, bragging about that, buying this, and that to others. When you try to repair brokenness with that, all you end up is with a lot of bunch of things that you didn't really like or want to begin with that are expensive, and now they have to get rid of once you start fixing yourself.
Yeah. That's what I started learning is when I started working on myself. I started realizing, why am I getting all these things? Because that's more things to clean and to be responsible for. So for me, honestly, I started to be happier when I started to live a more simple life.
Hmm. And it's so much happier because that for me, I feel that when somebody, let's say it's my birthday, right, and somebody comes with a gift or whatever it is that they're gonna bring or something big, right? I don't celebrate my birthday like that, but let's say they come with something big. I like more when a friend comes over and takes me out to eat somewhere and we spend quality time
Hmm.
talking, or we go out to a movie. Even if it's a repeat, who cares? Just, we spend the day together, just watching movies, eating snacks from the theater. And that's for me is more quality because you actually took the time to spend it with me.
Exactly. I always say, one of the things that I had to learn when I started working on myself and trying to fix myself and be a mature person, first I had to get to the beginning of my life and find out really who was I as a woman, and what did I want and desire. Because many times the things that we were putting up with and the things that we were introduced was not good for us. It wasn't healthy. It wasn't a healthy way of thinking. Wasn't a healthy way of living or communicating or not communicating, or not setting up boundaries and all of those things. So I had to start all the way from the beginning and start with myself and say, what was going to be my new rules for life, which I think growing up we didn't have rules for life, like respecting
Mm-hmm.
yourself, setting boundaries, showing appreciation, and also learning to say no. Those were like four key things that I had to learn when I went through therapy, which I didn't have my whole life.
Yeah, but how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs did that feel for you when you started doing those things? When the therapist said you need to put boundaries, you need to have your boundaries, you need to put them in place. You need to actually use them today. Go home and use them on someone or something. How cuckoo
Yeah.
for Cocoa Puffs did you feel? You're like,
Yeah,
she's crazy. I don't
no,
even know.
and the first time I did it, you know how you say it, but you don't say it like you mean it. Like I remember when I said, from now on, I'm not going to be doing this, and everybody laughed. And then
Yeah.
that's what made me upset. I was like, I mean it, and everybody was like, you're right. I was like, okay. I was like,
Yeah, that's
okay.
exactly what I do. When I said, okay, this is what's happening now. So if this happens again, okay, yeah, okay, mom, okay, so and so. I'll be like, all right, you'll be missing the pen. Don't come asking for it because you'll be in the trash can. You know what I mean? Like, people don't believe you, but it was kind of weird, right, Marlene? It was kind of like, I
Very
don't know,
weird.
like for me, it was like a lot of anxiety. I don't know if you felt the same way, and you wanted to give in and say, you know what? Why am I changing? This is how I am, or this I've always been.
Yeah, and I'm saying to myself, I was like, is it really that bad what I'm doing? Like, I kind of wanted to fall back into my toxic behaviors and my toxic habits and my toxic upbringing, instead of saying, no matter how you're raised, it doesn't mean, what my therapist always told me, when we were raised a certain way, it doesn't mean that we were raised by bad people. We were raised by people who did not know about boundaries, self respect and self love. And I had to learn to have that for myself.
Hmm. Again, it's not that we want to call them broken people because they were bad broken. No, it's that they were like us. You know, they were people that were never be they were never able to get their self-esteem up, you know, their self-assurance up. They were never able to be self-sufficient. They always had to work in a group with others on it, look out for others, not out for self. So they were not going to be
Exactly.
able to teach us something that they didn't know. And we're not blaming our parents. That's not what we're saying, right, Marlene? I mean, I'm not blaming my parents. I'm
No.
not blaming anyone. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes those childhood, you know, bad habits that don't work in the society we're in today, they have to be let go of.
Mhm. And for me, I'm pretty sure you as well, Miss Nexie. It means changing your mindset. And
Yeah.
I never had even thought about that before I started therapy. I was like, change my mindset. I was like, what's wrong with my mindset? I was like,
Are
my
you
mind
calling me
is
crazy?
fine.
Are you calling me crazy, right? Not that I
Yeah.
always went there. Not that I always went there, by the way, but you
Well, when I would say things like that, I was like, "So what are you trying to say about me?" And boy, when they would sit back in the chair and take out their pen and start writing, I was like, "Oh boy, what did I say now?"
yeah. No, my therapist for him, and you know what? I always told him. I said, "I bet I was your easiest patient," and he just closes the door on my face. But I think that's from loving me. I don't think it's because I was a challenge to him.
Well, I
Yeah, I think it's because he loves me that he throws the door, you know, my face. Yeah,
oh,
because I
okay.
wasn't the most challenging. Because I always tell him, I said, I was a piece of cake to you, wasn't I? He's like, yeah, you gotta go now.
Okay. It's like, okay, set up
He's
another
like, don't
appointment.
let me. He's like, don't let me go back to therapy myself.
My therapist said I challenged every boundary that she learned when she was going. She made it. I made her question everything. I said, "Oh, good. That means I was your best." And she's like,
Right?
I wouldn't say it like that, but if that makes you feel better."
Yeah, my therapist. You know, the thing is that um, because I did it at school, I will still, after I was done with everything, and you know, he saw the growth and the change in me and everything. After, you know, I still had him in the vicinity because you know he was the school therapist, right, for the students. So I always had him around. I would say, "Hey, how you doing?" Whatever. As you know, as I got out of school, we still remained friends. That didn't mean that he was my therapist still. No, it was just that you know we remain friends. I will refer people to him sometimes when I felt that, hey, you know what, you he can help you. Like if I felt that you know this person
Right.
needed some type of therapy. Not always to him, right? Because some people need more than others. But when I felt that, you know, God, I was there not long ago. Like I felt. You remember when we were talking about when you talk to someone and you start seeing, oh my God, that was me about so and so many years ago, right?
Hmm.
And when
You
people
can
were
you
open
can
to,
look at you can look at somebody and see yourself like, ooh, I
oh yeah,
remember like I remember when I
and
was that
answer
angry. Yeah.
an answer to something you ask or you request or whatever, and answer a look back, you're like, oh my God, that was me. That's me.
Hmm.
So many years back.
Yep. And
I
for
remember
me,
sometimes. Oh, go on, Miss Marlene, go on.
no, I was just gonna say, and that is one of the reasons why I like to, be on social media and share my personal growth, is because a lot of people, they go through things in their life, but they never share that they've been through something and how they've grown. And I like to pay it forward and help others, because I remember when I was in that lost space, and I didn't know like how to be happy. I didn't know how to have peace. I didn't know how to have joy. I didn't know how to just be myself because I was more consumed and concerned with how other people felt. I didn't want to hurt people's feelings, but all the meanwhile I was hurt.
And a lot of times, especially because when you're younger and your parents kind of instill this type of, you know what, if you ever need help, honey, and you cannot come to me, you can always go to someone to help you, a professional. When you grow up, telling it when your kids grow up hearing that, they will be more inclined to do seeking that help. But in our families, that hey, if you go to a therapist, if you do this, if you do that, then there's something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to seek the help you need because
Yeah.
people are constantly telling you that,
Yeah,
like
and
what's wrong.
the whole thing is that you don't want to be labeled as crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what I went through for a long time. I went back and forth when I started therapy. I didn't tell anybody because I was in college as well, and I just said, "You know what? I just told them I'm in school, which going to therapy is work." I was like, "I yes,
Hard
I
work,
am." I was like, "I am." There's a
unpaid
lot of
for.
work. Yeah.
Hard
And
work
then
and unpaid for.
yeah. And when I finally made that decision to tell everybody, when I was strong enough, when I had got healthier, and I stopped caring what other people felt, like everybody went ballistic. They're like, "Oh my God, what are they teaching you in school?" and all kinds of things. I was like, "Nobody teaching me this in school. I'm not going to allow myself to be in the toxic state. I'm not going to let you be using me anymore." And that's the whole thing about it, is that people only in your life don't like it because they're not going to get to use you like they used to.
Mm-hmm. That
And that's not a good thing. And we don't even understand how much that reaches, because when we don't do those things, we're teaching other people who look up to us, like your children, um maybe people in your business. If you are a toxic person, it spreads like a wildfire.
it, I feel that a lot of times, and I'm gonna go back a little bit to our families, Marlene, as you said, as you share about yours. I had the fortune that my older sister, she, when I was younger, I remember, um, she took me to therapy a couple of times to see a
Mhm.
psychologist, and they told her at my school, you need to take her. There is something wrong. You need to take her. So I don't remember because I was little. I was probably like 8 years old at this
Mhm.
point. But the thing is, my sister had to go with her husband. Her husband had like a scholarship. He won a scholarship, a national scholarship, and they were sending him to another country. So my sister couldn't continue. I think I went to one therapy, but we couldn't continue going because she had to go. And
Mm.
so that was the one. I was just remembering that the other day, and I asked my sister, I said, when I was talking to her, I remember the day I told you, Marlene, I'm talking to my sister. I was talking to her for a
Mhm.
while. I was talking to her like almost 4 hours, but I asked her, I said, did you take me, or is it my imagination? Because I remember. She's like, no, I took you. There were actually, back then, it was monthly, by the way, Marlene. I thought it was weekly. And I said, weren't they weekly? She goes, no, no, no. Back then it was once a month that the
Mm.
state will give us. And that was back home. But yeah, she had the insight of trying to help me because she didn't know what was going on with me, because I used to wake up screaming and stuff like that. So, so she was doing that, but she had to go. like on our second session, I think. So like within 3 months of her starting the therapy, and so
Mm.
I didn't continue. So, but I feel that it's very rare that my sister had the ability to, especially back then, to listen to somebody and not say, "What do you mean? Is she crazy or something? What's wrong with my sister? Why are you sending her to therapy?" It was more like, "Sure, where do I take her?"
Mm. So
Right?
so
And
it was her being open.
yeah, open in a time that nobody was really.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that my sister, because her husband, he's an engineer, so he's very educated, and I'm sure her husband told her, "Hey, yeah, take her. I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Don't feel that it's." So I feel that he helped me a lot because he loves me very much. He's known me since I was 2 years old.
Wow.
So so I think that he's the one who encouraged my sister, because I was like, whatever happened, I said, and did you take me, or was that my imagination, my wishful thinking? She said, no, we went twice. Don't you remember? And I was like, I do, but I thought it was like a dream or a memory I was waking up because I was wishing that would have been me. But she said, no, that was me. So when we have family like that, we're lucky enough as a child to have a family member who will actually advocate for us, who can say, you know what, therapy is a good thing, even if we have that just the one member of the family. That on itself is very helpful for anyone,
Yeah,
because like you
that's
said, your
it.
family was like, what the heck? My When I told my family, um not my kiddos, but my extended family, they were like, oh my god, what's wrong with your teacher? Like, what? Pick something else, you don't have to do it. Pick
Mm-hmm.
something else you like, and that way you don't have to be put through the rigor on that. I don't know, I cannot see myself in therapy. And then you will hear somebody else, oh my god, yeah, no, they want to get all into your business, and then they twist your mind. No, I don't like that. I've seen people come out of therapy really messed up, and I was so scared, Marlene. I was like, oh my god,
Mm.
am I gonna turn cray cray? But what they meant is they came out messed up because the people that went to therapy started saying no and forget you. They started standing
Yep.
up for themselves. I think that that's what they meant.
Mm-hmm. And that's what makes a
Sorry, I
lot
went
of
on that
people.
rant.
That's okay. And I'm glad that you did, because a lot of times that's what people don't understand, that there's a lot of people and they want to get healthy. They want to do better with their life, but they can't because they don't have the support from, you know, their relatives. And for me, that's one of the reasons why, because I knew I was not going to be supported in it. I made sure I went on my own until I had enough courage and strength. Like, I know I was good. Like, I think it was after probably a year of going to therapy. I was like, I don't care who knows now. So when they're like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to therapy.
You still doing that? Oh my god! Right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Am I
and they're
right?
like,
You're still going
mm-hmm.
to that? Oh,
Yeah. And they would laugh all the time. Like, oh, they said, are you cured? Are you cured? Are you cured? And they would laugh at me all
yeah.
the time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. No, no. They'll
Exactly.
be like, okay, wait. Everybody, be quiet, because she's going to therapy. That's what they used to do to
Mm-hmm.
me. My extended family, when they were like at parties or enjoying their time, whatever, telling jokes, they'll be like, "Oh, oh, oh, shh, 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 shh. Be quiet, everybody, because now she's going to therapy. We don't want to mess with her. She's going to therapy. We don't want to mess her up." And I'll be like, "Oh my god, just continue on. You don't even know what therapy
Mm-hmm.
means."
I know. And
But
that's
it
and
is.
that's one of the and that's one of the reasons, Nexi, why I made a decision within myself, because I knew that I was not in a good space in the beginning when I started therapy. I knew that if I heard something from one of my relatives and they said something, it would have discouraged me and caused me to stop. I already knew myself. So I said, you know what? I'm not telling nobody nothing until I feel strong enough. And I didn't.
And strong enough not to say it, but it's strong enough not to quit because of what they said.
Yes, that's what it was.
I know, trust me. You know, the funny thing is, I remember telling the family of one of my good friends, one of my best friends, and I was like, when my friend said, she's one of my best friends, when she said, "Oh yeah, yeah, next is going to therapy," I was like, looking at her like, "No, no, 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 don't say that." And I was waiting for the jokes and the like, "Oh my god, you fell for it too!" Like, oh, it was the opposite. It was the total opposite. That is
Mm.
good, Nexie. That is wonderful. And these are uneducated. And I don't mean that they are mean and bad speaker or whatever. No, these are parents that have not gone through the same schooling that you and I have, or a lot of the people now,
Mhm.
because they're older people. School wasn't something they could
School
afford
wasn't
because of the times,
important.
and it was they couldn't afford it because of the times.
Yeah.
And so these are older folks that they were like, "That is wonderful, sweetie. Continue on. Don't give up
Mhm.
no matter what, because it's gonna get a little harder, okay, before it gets better. So don't give up, honey."
You know,
I was
and you know
shocked
what?
that these people were more supportive
Yeah.
than my own family.
Listen, I'll tell you something, Nexie. I found the most support from people who were a stranger, quote unquote, or people who were my friends were more supportive of me than my own relatives, because most of the time the relatives are not going to be supportive of what you're doing, because it means that you're going to make changes, and you know that change is going to shake everything that is on the surface. So you're shaking up things. That means you're going to want to have conversations about things. You're going to check them on stuff. And that's why, that their discomfort is the reason why they don't want you to
I
go to
feel,
therapy.
yeah, that I think that's part of it. That's part of it. That's like a very, very high probability of that happening. So they're like scared. But
Mm-hmm.
I also feel that is the taboo behind it. You know that why are you going to therapy? What are they going to say about our family now with you in therapy
Mm-hmm.
and all?
Mm-hmm.
Like, our family's not going to come out good because of your therapy. You're like, who cares?
No,
Who
and
cares
then
about
like
how the
I
family looks?
and then I had people in my family like, you better not be in there telling my business. And I was like, and I just looked at them
Yeah.
and I said, you know what? For the first time in my life, it's not about you. It's about me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking too in my head. Because what somebody said to me is like, "Oh, I get it now. So my departure is going to be talked about there." I didn't want to say
Yeah.
anything. I was like, "You know what? No.
Hmm.
It's actually not about you. It's not about what you did or didn't do. It's actually about me. Therapy is about me, not
Hmm.
about you. Departure or not, who cares? It's not about you. It's about fixing me, the broken me."
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh
It's
no,
it's
I've seen
about
people come
it's.
out really crazy out of those things. And I started getting like scared, but then I remember the words that my therapist said. Before, don't give in to, because there's gonna be a lot of people, because there's such taboo for this type of. Because back then, I'm talking 30 years ago.
Yeah.
you know, you didn't hear that
You're
number, right?
talking years
Yeah,
ago.
there you go. There was still that taboo behind that. Oh my God. I knew it. I knew there was something wrong with her. She always was so advanced in her thinking. I knew she was crazy.
Hmm. Yeah. And anybody who rocks the boat or doesn't conform to what the group does, and then like
Great,
I had
great word.
people in. Yeah, I had people in my relatives that said like, "Why are you trying to change things? Everything is just fine." And I'm looking at them like, "Are you crazy? Things have never been fine."
It's because, again, it's that generational thing, Marlene, that everybody conforms to everything, right?
Mhm.
Even if we don't like certain something, we do it because it has been done for the past 40 years in our family. But we've
Mhm.
always done this. Okay, but I don't like all this noise. But guess what? You have to like it because it's always been done this way in our family. So, when I
Mhm.
started working on myself, I feel that because nobody says no or nobody brings it up, or everybody just, how you have that auntie or that cousin that is in the corner not really participating, and you understand now why they weren't happy. They didn't want to be there. They just had to do it because otherwise they will guilt it out of everything. They'll be like, "Oh my God, you're not a good family member. You're this, you're that." So that family member had not had
Mhm.
therapy. You are, so you're not there anymore. You're just thinking
Yeah.
about, you know what I mean? So because you change, you rock the boat, right?
Yeah.
By being different. And how dare you? Everything has been okay for them. Yes, because they have people that are yes, ma'am, yes, sir type of thing. We're not.
Mhm.
We're different.
Yeah. Yep. I said, I'm not telling anybody else what to do, but for me, I wanted to get to a space to where I could be okay with, like, if I didn't want to go somewhere or if I can't afford to do something, I didn't want to feel guilty or to feel bad to say I can't go because number one, I don't want to go, or number two, I can't afford it and not feel bad about it, because at the end of the day you are the one that has to live with those decisions. It's like you're living beyond your means and going and doing things, and then it's like, what am I supposed to do? Go out to eat and spend all this money at a lavish restaurant, and then they cut off my lights? Like, that don't make no sense, and I used to do that.
I have to, in a way, I'm probably going to go, I'm going to regret this, brush my teeth several times. And I'm just kidding. No, I have to thank my husband for this. Because he was the one that was very readily and easily saying, "Nope, she's not going. Nope, we're not doing that. Nope." And it will
Mm-hmm.
put a lot of discord in the family because, like, he'll be like, "No, I know you don't want to do that. You just don't know how to say no, Nixie. So I'll do it for you." So I have to thank him for that because he got me out of a lot of things that I was uncomfortable with. But just saying, "Nope, we're gonna do something different this year," or "Nope, we're gonna go
Mm-hmm.
somewhere else," or if he knew that something big was coming, everybody. I don't like crowds. I've told you that before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. New York is beautiful, but the crowds there, I get anxiety attacks. So you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, it's too much for me. So I try not to be in places like that. The only place that I have to, and then I have to come home and desensitize from it for at least 3 to 4 days, is when I take my little guy to Disneyland because he loves it there, and I don't, like so many people, but he loves it there. So when I take him there, I have to take a break from people, like for. So I have to, you know, thank him for this because a lot of times he took me out of situations that I wasn't comfortable with. But just saying, by he being the bad guy, he didn't care. He's like, "I don't care. I'll be the bad guy. No, we're not going. No, she's not going. We're not coming. Okay, you guys have fun though. Bye."
Mm-hmm. and
Or
and
taking
and
me away.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
grateful that, your husband did that for you. And I feel like in my relatives unit now, I'm the one that's doing that for everybody. Like, I can tell when certain individuals don't want to do anything, and I'll just speak up and say, "No, remember, we're gonna do that thing together, so you can't go." And they're like, "Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
thing."
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, no. What I would used to do is like, "Oh, we're going. Yeah, honey, I planned it. Yeah, we're going. She can't go. Sorry."
Mm-hmm. And
If I would be on the phone,
mhm.
go on, Marlene.
No, and the thing about it is that after a while, everybody's just stopped asking us because it started to be, well,
Yes.
you never want to go to anything. And then one day, I just had enough courage to say I never wanted to go because of so and so that's always there, and they show up and they're either drunk or they're asking for money or they're complaining about their life and never make. And I just was
Oh,
going on, and everybody was like, "Oh
Marlene.
my God."
Marlene, I have to interrupt. I mean, how fat was your purse after you start saying the no to everything that you didn't want to do?
Yeah.
How fat was your purse?
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
started noticing I had savings. I was like, "Oh, what is this? I
Because
got savings?"
yeah, wait. No, wait. I was saying, wait. From my paycheck that I work really hard, I can actually have extra money when I say no.
Mhm.
Because in our family, and this is the thing that I don't like about a lot of the. I'm not talking about everybody's relatives. Please don't feel that I'm saying that. I'm talking about my own, right? My relatives,
Mhm.
and maybe yours, Marlene, because you're my best friend, and I know your relatives a little
Mhm.
bit better now. But isn't it always you have to buy something, you have to contribute something that
Yep.
they're doing? It's not even your doing, it's their party, but you have to bring something. You have to cooperate on something because we're celebrating my mom's birthday, but you have to, pitch in. Why? If this is your mom's birthday, why should I cooperate? I can
Mhm.
bring her a gift, but why do I have to bring a
Yeah.
dish? Or why do I have to give you so much money for liquor or whatever? Why do I have to do these things? You know what I mean? It's your mom.
Mhm. Yeah. No, and how I would get out of situations like that, Nexie, when they would say you have to do this or that, and I know we've talked about this before. I would show up without the whatever the item. Well, where's this and that? But you said you were gonna. I said I never said I was gonna bring it. You volunteered me. I never said I was. You asked me to. I said you told me to. I said, but I don't do that anymore. I said nobody tells me to do anything. I said you
Oh,
can
oh, oh.
ask me, but don't make it mandatory.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you how I did my thing. So as I'm going through therapy and everything like that, right? So when they were like, oh, you know what, we're all gonna pitch in for a certain something, somebody's birthday, right? We're gonna pitch in. We're all gonna do this. We're all gonna do that. Okay, okay. And so, you know what? I don't have it this Friday, but I'll give it to you in 2 weeks when I get paid again, right? After the birthday party,
Oh
after
my
the gathering,
goodness.
after whatever. So when they will come back and say, "Oh yeah, so are you gonna give us?" I'm like, "What? You say you were gonna give it to? Did I say that? Oh really? Oh no, no, I don't have it right now. I don't. I don't. I'm not gonna be able to. I'm sorry. I had a last minute expense that I had to take care of. So right now, really, I can't. But maybe on the next birthday, or maybe on the next gathering, I might be able to help. So I did that for a few years, right? A couple of years maybe. And then when I was able to say, no, I'm not going to. It's not my thing. I mean, I can bring a dish if you want me to, but if that's going to be the case, then I'm not coming because I don't want to.
Mhm.
When I was able to say, no, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not going to. It's your thing. You do it. You're the one throwing the party. Why should I give you money? Then it will be my party and I'm not throwing a party. Once I was able to say those things, I started not using excuses or having to be tricky like that is. I'll give it to you next time. Oh yeah, in 2 weeks. Oh yeah, in 4 weeks. I was able to say, nope, I don't have the money. Sorry.
Yep. And for me, I started to get to the point next to where even when I have it, I said I'm not gonna lie to them and say I don't have it. But whether I have it or I don't have it is my responsibility, my issue, is my business. So when they're asking me, say, well, you have it, and I was like, yeah, and I work hard for it. So your point is, no, no.
Yeah,
Like
you work my
you need to be
hours.
more responsible. Yeah.
Thank you. You work my hours, really? You're working 2 3 jobs to be able to keep up with all the responsibilities. So you're the one doing that for me. I'm sorry. I was so deprived on sleep. I thought I was the one working for my money.
Hmm. I always think it's
And
incredible how people. Oh, I'm sorry, Nexie, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, it's funny how you start seeing all that savings and you start adding up the oh my god, the years, right, Marlene? And then you start adding them all up and you see
Hmm.
how much money you would have had in the bank had you said no. You're
Hmm.
like, wow, wow.
Yeah, I find it to be crazy how people will want to tell you how to run your household and your life, and you're like, because I work at nights, and I know that you worked nights, so it's like when I was like, okay, so when you're sleeping, I'm at work, right? Okay. And you're saying I can't get work. And I'm like, oh, that's very interesting because I go to work 3 to 4 times a week at night.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I
and
don't.
funny.
And they're like, oh, no, I don't want to work at night. See, that's the
Yeah. Oh,
difference. You don't
that's
want
another
to.
thing. Yeah, that's another thing. Oh no, I can't do that really because the need for money and the need of my household made me do what I
Mhm.
don't want to do because I have to. Like, I'm not just extending my arm asking people for help. I actually have to work for that because I don't want to put that burden on somebody else.
Mhm.
Who likes to work all night?
Huh.
Nobody does,
Yeah.
Marine. But you know that that's the only time that you're going to be able to make more money, first and foremost.
Mhm.
You're going to be able to work while your loved ones that you are in charge of are sleeping, right? Safe at home.
Mhm.
And you're going to be able to come home, take a little nap, and then take care of them. That's the whole
Yeah.
point, is that a lot of people don't understand is that it's not that you love doing that, it's just that you know that it's going to help the family more, but they don't want to go through all of that. So
Mhm.
it's funny because um my kiddos in our culture, in our Hispanic culture, there is like a lot of people, they have weddings and they look for like um they call them like, it's called padrinos, like a godparent of, they're in
Mhm.
charge of the decorations for the hall, and then they look for another, godparent to decorate the table, the centerpieces, and then they look, so they
Right.
have all these people helping them with the wedding, right? With different tasks,
Mhm.
they have to put it out of their pocket, of course. And so everybody pitches in to decorate the entire thing, or with food and drinks. So it's weird. And it's a culture thing. A lot of people do it, a lot of people, and I'm not criticizing that. That's beautiful that a lot of people do these things, but my kids, they didn't want to, they don't like that, so they saved up for their weddings, and they
Mhm.
paid for their weddings themselves, working hard, saving every penny, you know what I mean? But they pay for everything themselves. And I was asking them, like, why, you know you guys, we have this in our culture. They're like, yeah, we don't like that. We don't think that's fair, so no, we don't like it. We want to do it all on our own. And that's what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the whole thing is that I had to learn that too, Nexie, and I'm glad you brought that up because anything that you grew up in, from your childhood, you don't have to continue to do things to make everybody else happy if it makes you feel miserable. You don't have to.
Exactly.
You have choices as an adult, and that's why I was like changing from toxic to healthy. It's all about
Hmm.
choices, honestly.
Well, exactly, which is why I brought it up right now, because I we're talking about those the changes that you have to make from the toxicity in your life. You and I have made changes, and we're very vocal about it. We talk about it here. We sometimes go to other people's panels and discuss it there too. We're always open to say the changes that we made to make us the people or the person that we are today, right? But it's beautiful to be able to say it's not just me, my next generation is making those changes as well, and it's giving our future generations a better outcome of everything, because we're fixing ourselves now. And it doesn't just stay with me, it's continuum.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
It's a continuous thing. Now I see my kids moving in a certain direction, changing the outcome. Maybe, not as they're not gonna be like they used to call me mom. You're hovering. You're a helicopter mom. Back away, woman. They're actually being a little bit different than I was raising them, and that's a good thing. It's a change, which is what you want on every generation. You don't want it to be cookie cutter. Everybody the same generation after generation after generation. No, you want productive and good change to go on. You want this toxicity to end, and the only way that you're gonna be able to make this end is by change, by
The only way.
unadopting that particular behavior. If you know that we have to gather, we all have to give in, we have to pitch in. By saying no, I'm not going to, and then the next generation saying no, you know what, we're paying for everything ourselves, we don't need that. That on itself is beautiful, because now it's two changes in the same toxic generation, right?
Hmm. Yep. I always and and I'm so glad that you said that, Nexie, because I love that now that I have learned to find my voice. Also, I'm so happy to see the younger ones within my family finding their voice and saying, I don't want to do that, or I don't like that, or that makes me feel uncomfortable, or whatever it is. When I was like, that took me like 30 years to be able to. I was like, and you're saying that now at like seven, eight
You're
years
like,
old?
man, you're my hero.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And you see the one thing that I oh, I'm sorry, Miss Marlene.
No, no,
Did I?
no. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say that the one thing I did, I wanted to break in my family, that toxicity of, you're doing this, you're doing that, okay, so I'll see you guys at so and so time, and you're like, but you haven't even asked me if I want to. Okay, I guess I have to do it, right? In my With my kids, I said, if you guys want to, we can do so and so. Do you guys want to? I changed it from, you're doing this to, do you guys want to do this? Or if you don't, that's okay
Exactly.
with me. So now, they're with that on itself, even though it's just a small little sentence that you change from, you guys are doing this, okay? That's your job, that's your job. I'll see you guys at 5, saying, do you guys want to? And if you do, then I'll see you guys at 5 over there. If not, that's okay.
Hmm.
That
Yeah,
that
and
change is very, very, very powerful.
yes, Miss Nexie, and that's one of the things that it took me a really long time to be able to find my voice and speak up for myself, because when you come from a big family, they automatically will put you in stuff, like they'll make choices without you, and that's one of the things that used to really grind my gears, when somebody will make a choice for me and say, we are doing this at this time, when it's like, what do you mean we're going to do this at noon, and I just got off of work at 7 in the morning. Like, there's no way I can be able to, and say, well, we are. I was like, so why can't you? So I was like, okay. So I taught them a lesson, and I said at work, I'm going to be having a party at 3 a.m. It's like 3 a.m. I was like, yeah, that's a good, because that's a good time for me. And then they got it. They got the less. They got it.
And again, it's the fact that you changed the way that, the you broke the generational curse, as they call it, curses, because there's so many, but you broke at least a couple of them. Now your nieces and nephews are coming up with this, and your own children are coming up
Hmm.
with this, that I have a voice here, I have a say here. My
Yep.
What I say matters, to my
My
mom.
and also and telling them that how I feel matters.
Mm-hmm.
That
Exactly.
that's a very powerful thing to be able to teach your children and other people, that it's okay if you feel like like sometimes I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and now I still feel a little hesitant to say it because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, but I still say that's not something I'm really on board. And to my surprise, they'll be like, okay, we'll see you next time then, and I'm like, what? That's all I had to do? That's it?
Why couldn't my mom say that? That's all we needed to do, Mom.
It was like I'm having so much anxiety. Don't even sleep all night because I have to tell them I'm not going, and everybody's just like, okay, yeah. So then we're gonna. I was like, wait a minute. You're supposed to rant and rave and say, how come you're not going? They're like, but if you don't want to go, then you don't want to go. And I was like, that's it,
That's
huh?
it.
Oh,
And that's the thing, is that you have to, you have to unlearn, right, these bad behaviors. You have to unlearn this toxic behavior and relearn it in a different healthy way. It's a weird thing, but for,
mhm,
again, for us that come from big families like that, that things are unsaid, right? There's a lot of things that go unsaid. There is a lot of bad behaviors that go unchecked, a lot of toxicity that goes, unchallenged. We,
mhm.
when we come to fix it, not for everybody, but we fix it on ourselves without even knowing. We fix it for a lot of people around us because they start seeing, okay, if so and so Marley can do that and Nancy can do, then I can do it too.
Yeah.
Why not? You know,
And
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 and yeah, go on.
and you and you know what made me so happy, Nexie? At the end of my mom's life, she told me that me going to therapy and like seeing that women have choices because she grew up in a generation where women didn't have choices. And
Oh,
she
now your
like
mommy's your best friend, not me. Huh? Your mom. Let's talk about your best friend, mom. That's beautiful.
yeah. And then it was like so I showed her that, if you can do something for yourself, I said, cuz she grew up in that generation where women didn't have choices and that they only had to do things to make either their children or their spouses happy. It was
Yep.
never about them. And I was like, no, mom. I was like, and said, but what if your husband? I said, well, then he's just not going to be happy. But you can't give up yourself if something makes you feel miserable. It's like, no, you have to tell
You
him.
know,
Then I remember when my mom told my dad no for the first time. My dad was like, he's like, no, I'm not going. I was like, go, mom.
my
Yes.
my my sister is my mom, really, because she, since I
Mm-hmm.
was a baby, she was the one raising me. But my sister is kind of like an extension of your mom, right? Because my sister is probably like 30 years younger than your mommy, but they come from that generation where you have to cater to the husband, cater to the children. Um,
Mm-hmm.
don't say anything. And if your kids are being disrespectful, you're supposed to take it and everything. Well, my sister, as of late, okay, and I just found out that she has been going through therapy. As of late, my sister was literally chained to her husband and kids. My sister will cook. My sister for everybody, and they will just eat and leave everything there. My sister had to be picking it up, picking up the table, cleaning up the dishes, and everybody sitting down. Well, my sister, as of late, is saying no. I'm going somewhere. I left you guys some food. Hit it up. I don't know how. Learn. I was like, what? My sister is actually.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of her, and I told her the other day that oh my god, I am so. This is about 2-3 years ago that I found out that she's doing this, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You're actually leaving him, because she had to literally put the plate in front of him, put the drink in front of him, give him
Yep.
the salt or the sugar or the spices or the fork or the napkin, or I mean everything in his face.
Mm-hmm.
Now my sister is saying, There's food over there. I'm gonna be gone for 2 days. I'm gonna go see my other family, my other, because we have three more little sisters, and my sister's like, I'm gonna go see my sister, so I'll see you guys later. They're like, what about what? There's food in the fridge. Heat it up, eat it. Bye. And I was like, oh
Good.
my god. And there's someone in her family, in her children, that was always very disrespectful to them. And my brother-in-law is even though he's very educated and everything, my brother-in-law is very quiet, very respectful. And even if his kids were going on and off of them, he doesn't say anything. He just allows them to. Well, my sister the other day did something beautiful. She opened the door to one of her kids. I'm not going to say who it was or what it was or the name, but said, "Get out of my house now," without bad words, without anything. "Get out. Come back whenever you're ready to apologize and when you have something nice to say to us. Other than that, stay out." I was like, my sister did what?
I was like, who is this?
I called her right away. I said, "Did you?" "Yeah, I did." I was like, "Who? Where's my sister at?" I go, "Excuse me, head. Can you please call my sister?" The one that always put up with everything. She said, "No, I've been going to therapy and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm wasting my life. I've been wasting my life away." Because she got married very young. Back then, it was accustomed that by 17 you were married. She's like,
Yeah.
"I've been married all of my life. I haven't had a voice. I haven't had a say. I haven't had any time for me." She's like, "No, I'm not going to do that." So she's going through therapy. She's finding her voice. And whatever is not aligning with the way she wants her household to be run, she takes care of it. And I'm so proud of her, Marlene, because she's
Mm-hmm.
been dedicated her entire life to these people that sometimes they're very ungrateful to my sister. And I'm like, you deserve so much better, sis, because of who you are. But I cannot say it for you. You have to say it yourself. I cannot, because many times I voiced my discontent for that person. But since my sister didn't say anything, it didn't register to this person. But now that my
Mm-hmm.
sister said, "Get out of my house. You don't come here to my house and disrespect and insult us like that. Get out." Once she said that, this person is very different.
Yep. That's what you have to do. I remember when my therapist said that to me. People are going to disrespect you until you learn how to respect yourself.
Uh huh.
So I had to learn. I had to learn to find that voice. I don't know what it is inside of us that we feel that it's okay for other people to run over us, and that we are so upset about or feel so bothered by saying something because we feel like we'll hurt their feelings, and we're so upset about what they do. That makes no sense.
It makes no sense. But again, this is someone, and I'm seeing this on my sister as well, that this is someone that I never thought was gonna break, you know, that curse, and she's doing it.
Hmm.
She's getting rid of this toxic upbringing and making it. She still loves her kids. She still, when they come over to visit, bring the grandkids. Of course, she enjoys them and everything, but she's making a difference now. She's teaching
Hmm.
them that not everything is going to be according to what they thought she was or what she used to do. She's breaking free from that.
Exactly. And that's what
You
and
know what I
that's
mean?
the most important thing, Miss Nexie. Just like the title today: choose to live a healthy mindset and life, and not be toxic. It's making those choices. So, great topic, Miss Nexie.
Yes,
Any
Maria.
final words?
Um, that I probably don't want to say like final words, but the only thing I could tell people is that the world itself is in turmoil, is in chaos. If we try to be a little bit less chaotic every day and learn something positive, every morning when we get up, I think the world will be a better place. That's it.
Mhm.
Just be positive. Something, do something productive, something positive every morning, every day that you wake up. I think that's pretty much it for me.
Awesome. Awesome. Great, great advice. And I would say my my thoughts is um think about yourself. Think about what you want, who you are, and how how other people, how they are treating you makes you feel. And if you don't like the way other people are treating you or how it's impacting your mental health, then have enough courage to do something about it. So great topic, Miss Nexie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Miss Marlene, and I'm sorry I was late. I
No
promise the next
problem.
time we won't. That was fun.
No
But thank you for
problem.
having me and always coming up with these amazing topics that we can all learn from.
Thank you. And shout out to the chat, all my mods, my channel members, anybody who supports this channel. That's why me and Miss Nexie, we do these topics because we want to talk about healing from our emotional pain, from our traumas and experiences, so that we can be the best versions of ourselves. Thank you, Miss Nexie.
Exactly. Thank you, Miss Marlene. I'll see you next time on the Sip and Chat.